G'day Scrabbers, just doing another little pickup today. Thought I'd kind of take you on for the road. I don't think I'm going to be able to take video of me actually picking it up, but we'll go and do this job and we'll check out what we actually get. Okay, well, I'm back from that pickup and yeah, pretty much as expected. It's just general low-end junky stuff, but still we'll try and get a little bit of value out of it. There are circuit boards, but it's all mostly just power boards. So as I've mentioned in other videos, you know, not all eWaste pickups are you know, valuable or you can actually make much money from, and this is just one of those pickups that is that sort of caters for my hobby rather than business, because as you can see, we've got a lot of boxes and rubbish here, and by the time sort through all that, you know, the hourly rate turns out to be virtually zero. But well, probably the good thing about this place is they're kind of like they make testing equipment. So yeah, there's unusual things. They make some equipments like power supply units for military and stuff. So I've got a couple of interesting pieces for my own personal collection, and then just a whole heap of this junk that I'll just sort of go through. But yeah, you got to take the good with the bad, I suppose. So just power supplies, some old transformers. Yeah, just looks like just power supply transformers or something. Oh, yeah. So I'll just go through as I'm taking it out and seeing, you know, a bit of cast aluminium. This is off some kind of military thing. There is an old version of what this was in the van, so we'll get into that. I think this box isn't bad. Okay. Yeah. So out of this whole lot, this box is probably the only thing of value. Get out in the sun. So we've got really nice server boards loaded with IC chips. Got our gold fingers here, and these are the real vintage type of gold fingers. So don't even know if you can see it, but yeah, these fingers are pretty good. Bit of gold recovery. So yeah, as I said, oh well, at least these boards, being server boards, if they're all, yep. Well, there they go. Oh yeah, got them all back in. So yeah, they're not bad actually. Certainly good value as far as telecom grade board or server grade, depends on your buyer. Probably get away with telecom grade here. But yeah, these fingers are really good vintage heavy plating, so they're good. And I did notice one board, like that, it's got great fingers on it, double-sided, and I can just feel the thickness and the heaviness of it. So good gold recovery in that. And AMD IC chip here. It's a beautiful little IC chip. It's gold cap, gold legs, and it's dated 1979. So a really good little chip that. Obviously for gold recovery, but certainly wouldn't. It's the only one I've ever seen of that type, so I certainly wouldn't send this to gold recovery. This is going to go into my IC chip CPU collection. But yeah, when it comes to these older style, I mean, these boards aren't like a brand. I don't think they're more of a custom kind of board. I'm not really sure, but you know, if you can work out what like these EPROMs are here, well this one here, I mean, as you know, they do have individual value just selling them, you know, and so I wouldn't even sell that. I just keep that in my collection. But you know, sometimes it pays to look at these old EPROMs. Sometimes they can sell for really good money, just these little things here. But other than that, it's just good gold recovery. So okay, I'm happy with this box. As I said, this is probably the only thing that's really worth anything, and you know, so what do we got? Probably 4 kilos, so about $15 worth of boards if I was to sell them, or but I'm certainly not going to sell them. I'm just going for the gold recovery. And see, it's got these white ceramic IC chips, which are really interesting, you know. So I tend not to you know, depopulate these boards right away. I prefer to just keep them, and because sometimes these IC chips can be really, you know, valuable on their own, and you know, if I find anyone that wants them, I can just give them the whole board, you know. And some of these chips can be worth $30-40 each, even more. Some can go up to $100, but obviously that all takes time, and we need time to get it. So yep, probably cost me more in getting rid of cardboard than it, you know, in some of these pickups. But you know, as they say, beggars can't be choosers, and so we just take what we can, and sometimes we win, sometimes we just even out. Okay, so this is, I think, modem. It's just basically an aluminium box, just junk. Certainly doesn't match pickups like that, you know. That's where it's all about. It's all in IT equipment, but you know, power supplies, yep, just junk. Oh, oh, you're joking. I'll see, it's got a bit of wire hanging out. It's all just polystyrene. So, you know, for 5 cents worth of wire, I got to go and dispose of that, you know. So that's just how it goes. All right. So, a multi-stage battery charger. So that's interesting. Some of these things are good for electronic enthusiasts. They, you know, like this box with a big heatsink on it, it might be worthwhile, but doesn't have really much scrap value. There's nothing inside it. Coax cable. Low. Okay, awesome. It's like we've got power boards. Okay, I know that. Remember these giant fin heat sinks? This was on a it's like a little portable kind of power supply unit. I showed you one of these once before. It's not bad. Bit of scrap metal value anyway. Have we at least got, oh, okay. Well, at least we've got a slot card here. Might be a good one. G471. Because it's you know, in original packaging and stuff. Might be worth a few bucks. Another one here. Have to look them up. What have we got? A switch. So yeah, you know, it's just interesting little things to go through, and looks like we've got some little bit of copper here and switch here. We might get some, there'll be some silver and maybe gold inside the switches. That's one of those boxes to go through, have a bit of fun with. Yeah. This fly wire, it looks like it's brass. Yeah, I reckon this is brass. It's gold. That's, never seen brass fly wire. What we got? Power board. Yep. Interesting. Oh, there's a really nice copper coil here. It's got really thick copper wire. So I might scrap this one out. Get that bit of copper. A lot of cases with these power boards, you know, it's just easier to sell it for like 35 cents a kilo. You know, you might get 50 cents for this, but yeah, in this case I might go for that copper. I'll spat. This one was pretty heavy. I think it's just well, again, I don't think we're going to get any more of those nice server boards. Yeah, this is all just power boards. How's that one? That blew to the crappers. Oh, just an old screen, mid-grade board. Yeah, just blown out. Power. What else we got? Bit of cable. Yeah, these switches, they can be pretty good sometimes. Doesn't go down, it just sort of, so they're probably faulty anyway, so they're no real good to anyone else. So just a matter of scrapping it out and getting it that little bit of silver contact. And yeah, I just want to get to the main thing just to show you. Some low-grade cable, Christmas lights. What are they? They're capacitors, and they're like brand new, but I think they're they might be batteries. Yeah, I think these are batteries. Yeah, it looks like it. There are some of them have got a bit of corrosion, so yeah, but some of these vintage style batteries or whatever, you know, yeah, as you know, I've got my electronic guys that are into stuff like this, so I can't get any value out of them, and you know, I just have to send them to recycling. So this is the sort of stuff that I like to keep aside, and when those guys come along, they'll have a look, and I'll show a few of them. Yeah, definitely probably NiCad batteries, but I'll show it to them, and they might, you know, recognize them as useful for something, you know, before I send them off to recycling, because you don't get any money for batteries. So this is a nice, really nice cast aluminium housing. Can't remember what it was from. Mill Solar. So it was just a housing for something. I think they told me what it was, but again, a few dollars in aluminium. Come on, give me something good. Where we got circuit boards. Okay, that's a nice little motherboard actually. IT486. It's faulty, so that's a good that it tells me that at least I don't pass it on to someone and you know, they waste their time thinking it's going to work. But pity there's no 486 CPU in there. Some good chips though. Nice little board. I think I've seen this board. It comes in like a test kind of equipment. I've actually got one of those pieces still that I want to scrap out and show you, because I'm pretty sure that's the motherboard that comes out of these aircraft test sort of units. Okay, rubbish. Rubbish. Just little LCD screens. $1,500 UF, 100 volts. I know someone that will find a bit of interest in that. Got some brand new little IC chips. Now, I've tried selling, I've had thousands and millions of IC chips, try to sell them brand new, very hard to sell. But at least they're in their original packaging like that. Look up the part number. They might be highly sought after. If they are, you might get a few bucks for them. Most likely not. Okay. Well, tell you, if I had to pay someone even just 20 bucks an hour to do jobs like this, obviously we'll go broke in 2 months. But like, you know, you take the good with the bad, but at the same time, and see this pink bubble wrap? This bubble wrap is actually static, the anti-static bubble wrap when it's pink. So it's good to keep this stuff if you're selling stuff on eBay like motherboards and that. You want to wrap it up in sort of stuff like that, anti-static. Same as those pink plastic bags. Pink usually stands for anti-static. It's just another one of those power boards, that big copper coil. So as you saw, I got one power board out of that box, which is probably worth about 50 cents, but I've got plastic in the box to get rid of. So, you know, it balances out. A lot of cases it balances out so much that you just manage to break even. You know. Imagine this being thrown into the bin and going into landfill. I mean, what an absolute waste that would be. So, you know, I still appreciate, you know, any of my clients that, you know, stockpile this stuff and send it to me for recycling, because at least we can, you know, it's not about the money in this case. You know, we're not going to get much value out of this, like I said, about 50 cents, but at least we're recovering the resources, you know. So that's why I appreciate any call. I don't care if it's, you know, a couple of printers and a TV and an old vacuum cleaner. Even if I don't make any money out of it, still, you know, good for the environment, and you know, geez, it seems like one of these power units to every box. Come on, I want to get into the first things. There's probably one good thing that I really want to show you. But this place, it's a really interesting business, I suppose. They make all kinds of test equipment. I mean, look at that nice heat sink, you know, but yeah. So sometimes in places like that, you can actually get something that's really unusual that you don't really see very often, you know. I don't know if today's going to be one of those days. Well, there's a nice big motor in a fan. So take that motor out. More electrical oddball stuff. These sirens. There's a couple of you guys that like these sirens, that pick them up off me from time to time, so you might like that. More of them power boards, more boxes. You know, things like this. I find this kind of stuff, you know, very interesting. There's no value on it as far as scrapping is concerned, but you know, check it out. It's like a piece of test equipment, and it's like a calibration unit or something. They calibrate. It's got all these little switches. It's like a test. You know, they plug in things here, and you even got a fan. Not much in the circuitry, but just very unusual pieces. So yeah, no money in it, but interesting pieces to keep, to pass it on to electronic enthusiasts. Well, nothing there. Well, we got, yeah, another kind of piece of test equipment. It's aluminium, but in some cases it can be more work to remove all the steel to turn it into aluminium than it's worth. But in this case, I'll probably be able to clean this up and at least turn it into aluminium, so we can get a couple of dollars for it. Well, what's about 5 kilos? So, you know, if I put 20 minutes worth of work into it, I'll get $5 for that piece. So, yeah. Nothing to write home about. Now here's one interesting piece. It's a jig, load shell. They're basically just power boards inside there, you know, but that's nice and interesting. Ionizing radiation. Interesting. Yeah, but as I mentioned, this place does a lot of test equipment and power supply units for military, like I'll show you with the pieces up the back. So they make really interesting stuff that you just don't really find much, you know. So it's basically this, it's just basically a power supply unit, but look at that, it's a, you know, I'm pretty sure this is also like, this is all military stuff. Don't know about this one, but it's you know, it's all cast aluminium, so it would be a real shame to send that off. You know, like I think their option was to send it to landfill, you know, just throw it in a dump master. You know, that's valuable resources being wasted. Coex. Show me something. Yeah. Just little repair things. Yeah. Just an empty box, really. We'll have to go through it and try and get some value. There's some big capacitors. Don't even know if this camera is actually pointing in the right direction. Yeah. 750, 400. They're nice and big. Another piece of cast power board. You know, because it's such a beautiful piece of cast aluminium, it's got these beautiful fins, you know, acts as a heat sink. You could actually, you know, for other kind of projects, those kind of things might be useful to make things out of. So I'm trying to look at other value other than just sending it to scrap metal, of course. Blank boards, totally blank. So this is basically, you know, how they get them, and then they, you know, they start soldering things on it and making their own custom boards. So blank boards like that obviously have no value, but I can still send them off to get recycled. Mid-grade. Okay. Just a kind of like a power board on this side, but at this side, look at all those MLCCs. And you know, this is old stuff. This is way before they made base metal MLCCs. So these are definitely going to contain palladium and silver. And yeah, some really nice big ones. So this board's good for personal depopulation. Another one there. This is a Scotch Flex assembly press. Okay. Well, see, these are the kind of things I love. Unusual gadgets. Scotch Flex locator plate. Awesome. Made in St. Paul. I think that's Minneapolis. Even better. Love it. Look at that. It's like a... That's beautiful. See? So far, that's the most exciting thing I've probably gotten. And it's got no real value apart from interest value. So yeah, that's why I love this kind of stuff. This is going to go into my personal collection with my unusual gadgets. So, yeah, that in itself makes the pickup worthwhile. I'll even forget about some of the cardboard boxes for that, you know. Faulty, well, again, I really like when they put faulty and stuff. It just saves me time trying to figure out whether it's going to work or not. You know, I can just, you know, take that board and scrap it out and be done with it, you know, get it out of the system. Recover. Okay, well, here's a box. That's unusual, isn't it? Okay, a box with boxes, even more interesting. Starting to run out of room here. I've only managed to do about 5 or 6 monitors since I picked them up. Routers. Oh, yeah. That's cool. Broadband install kit. Very common. Yeah, it's all fun and games. Still haven't got to my little probably the most interesting things, I think. Well, one is complete, so we're going to hear DVD player. Just scrapped. That's a cable receiver. Get a good board out of that. Oh yeah, this thing here, it's an amplifier. As you know, some of these amplifiers can be very valuable because, I don't know, collectors seem to like them. Oh, wow. And a good start is to see how heavy they are. Usually the heavier they are, the better chance that they're going to actually be value. Don't know about this. This is probably not old enough. A NAD 7155. He did mention something about one of the capacitors is leaking or something that starts and doesn't start. So I'll have to look this up and see if it's actually got any value to it, because someone might really like it. Natalie, oh look at that. Oh, Boston, London, Tokyo. Well, make your mind up. Which one? Okay, it's still got the antenna thing, and it looks quite okay. I think this one might be. I'm going to look it up. So while you're watching this video, you've probably already looked it up. See if it's actually worth leaving it as is. And then all I do, I'll just tell whoever takes it that one of the capacitors has got a fault and they need to be replaced. Just so they don't spend half their life trying to work out what's wrong with it. Just what I needed, crappy LCD monitor. Okay, here we go. These are the things I want to show you. Finally, look at these. These came from Iraq, straight out of the war. And okay, as we know, things with, you know, you're probably thinking, oh, it's military, it's going to be awesome, it's going to be gold recovery. Well, these aren't really military, the real components. This is just like a testing sort of thing. So it only has, it's just got those power boards in there. This one, it should have two in a complete one. So, but I've got one that's complete that I'm going to put into my collection, obviously. Yeah, he kind of went over what they all connect to, but it's basically on the field sort of equipment. This is like a power supply. They test all kinds of things. Well, there's really nice gold pins here on the beautiful switches. So yeah, military. And these were returned from, these actually, I think some of them actually experienced combat out in Iraq. So maybe. It's hard to say, because what would be the chances of sending them back to Australia? They'd probably just leave them there. But it's a complete one. This is the one that's going in my personal collection. Dated about 1997. So this is a prototype. In some cases, some of these prototypes can be a bit empty because they don't have to have all the working functions. I'm just not sure. Yeah. So this one certainly wasn't in the... didn't go to Iraq. This was just a prototype, but they're really well constructed, and it's all beautiful aluminium heat sinks here. It's all, the whole thing is all aluminium, and yeah, I've got the handles too, so that'll make it look even better. And this one's definitely going to go in. Yeah, so this one is serial number 13. So this was prototype number 13. Awesome. Unlucky for some, but yeah, really happy with that. Just looks very vintage and it looks military. This would go into pretty much any military collection just as an unusual oddball piece. You know, we've even got brass caps and just love that sort of stuff. So really excited. So that item there, and this press kind of thing, Scotch assembly press. Okay, that and that are the best things out of this, and I'm really happy now. But there's a couple more. There's another one that's been half scrapped out. So we'll take care of that. This is the one that was on the field. This came back from, apparently, from Iraq. This actually seen military fighting. Okay, so the problem with this is this was in an explosion. Okay, external damage by fire and BER, not sure. However, unit is functional and there is no internal damage. So whatever this was in, like a tank or something or whatever, it actually got blown up or burnt down, and so this was in use. So this one probably has more value to a collector. Not and when I was saying value, I'm not saying money value, I'm just saying interest value. More value than the prototype, because this has seen war, this has seen service. Look at that, it's still got char and stuff, remnants of the actual explosion. It'd be interesting to know what kind of missile hit it, but it's only damaged the outside. It's only burnt and scorched the outside. That's how strong they make them. They'll withstand most most bombers, I suppose. Probably not a nuclear bomb, but I don't think they drop them very often. Okay, another siren, transformers. That's a nice transformer, actually. Japanese made. I know someone that's going to probably want that. Power supplies. All right, well, that's about it. Rest is pretty junky. Well, more capacitors, 450 volt, 30 negative black. Okay, they look brand new, these ones. So again, any electrical guys want some of these capacitors, come and get them before they get snapped up. Obviously, I'll spend an hour or so, and I'm going to sort all this out properly, just so I don't, haven't got all these boxes. I can get rid of these boxes, and anything that I think might be useful to you guys that you want the little components, I'll keep them all aside, laid out nicely, so you can quickly have a look if you want anything. But yeah, all right, I'll finish off here and we'll see what we ended up with. Okay, well, yeah, it wasn't too bad, nothing spectacular, but as I said, some interesting stuff. Still got that fan with the big motor. I might just sort of keep it like that for a little bit, might come in handy for something. Otherwise I'll just scrap out the motor. I've got my interesting little locator, no, what is it, whatever it is, got that. Got those 4 pieces, the prototype that I'm going to keep, and the one down the bottom here is the one that's actually seen service. So I'll keep these 2 for a while till I work out what I'm going to do with them. I'm definitely going to put this one in my collection, but I thought, well, it'd be nice to have this burnt out one too. These 2 I'll just probably just scrap out. There's nothing really there, just get the aluminium. So not much there, basically just scrap aluminium, just your power boards, a couple of these funny kind of modules. I've got a few transformers, but only one that I'm going to actually keep as that, you know, possible that has a possibility of having value to someone. But yeah, these telecom kind of boards, yeah, really good. I love these ones with the really nice gold fingers here. So can get them, that's for sure. And I'll probably just depopulate the whole lot and take all the IC chips. But a few have got some interesting things, like this board here isn't really a telecom board. Virtually no IC chips, and these big ones are like the old style ones, you know, they're not ICs, they've got the copper coil inside, so they're not IC chips. But yeah, some really unusual little bits on it. Like, how's that for a crystal? That's huge. And here's another really interesting IC chip or CPU. It's got a ceramic top on top of the ceramic, and it's got gold legs, so it's going to be a really nice one. I don't want to take it out by hand. I want to do it carefully so I don't damage the pins. But yeah, this is ADDA-C80. Yeah, don't know, but it's certainly going to be a nice one for the CPU collection. Very unusual. And yeah, the rest is just basic. So a lot of these ones with the really good fingers on them, I'm really happy about them. And some unusual things. There's even a couple of bizarre looking tantalum capacitors. But yeah, there's only 2 of them, or it might be only one with that really good chip. Yeah, these are all identical. So yeah, there's only one, unfortunately, with this nice chip. We've got these smaller ones with the massive fingers. Really good gold recovery there. And remember that one, the AMD from 1979. That's a beautiful IC chip or CPU, whatever it is. It's a little bit like the Motorola CPUs, but long. Yeah, that's going to be good. And I think this one's going to be good. And I'll check these out, see what they are. Another big crystal here. The white ceramic, and yeah, not a great deal there. I'll check these ones out, but they're probably nothing really special. But you never know. I mean, if these sold for like $10 each, and I'm not talking about if they're listed as $10 each. They're actually got to sell, but if they do sell, you know, there's $40 just there. So you got to sort of take that into account when you're getting these old kind of boards. And then I've got the other boards with the smaller fingers. They're okay for the IC chips. And what's here? Oh yeah, it's actually a nice slot card. This bit vintage style. It's got a little bit, you know, a little tantalum. It's nicely spaced out IC chips. I might check this one out. it does say HBIB card ISA. It might be, one for the vintage people. I showed you the motherboard and I was hoping that there was a CPU in it. Well, there's actually two. So, bonus. Yep, it's pretty much identical. But the interesting one, a part of this one, is it's still got the CPU, which I was hoping for. But check out this CPU. IBM. I love CPUs that say IBM. I don't know why. But Blue Lightning DX2. So I haven't seen one of these before. That's really different. So it's not like it's just like a regular Pentium ceramic. I was hoping it'd have a gold cap. It might, no, it doesn't. Yeah, it's just an unusual cap, but it's got, it's a Cyrix 1993 IBM 9314. A really good one for the collection, this one. Yeah, as I said, I love when they got IBM, and this one, Blue Lightning, just really cool. Really happy with that. So they're okay, a few boards. And then obviously got all this stuff that I've got to go through, a whole lot of capacitors and these batteries and all this sort of junky stuff to go through. This is more time consuming than value, but it's got to be done. More power boards and stuff that I'll go through and scrap out. Get a bit of value out of it. Bit of cable. Got this battery kind of charger that looks to be half empty anyway. Another box of just different types of capacitors. Really nice big bags of capacitors and all kinds of things. So more for the electronic enthusiasts. This is an interesting cable. It's got a really nice gold pins there. Yeah, I'm not sure what this suits, but these unusual ones, I like to keep them. Oh, it says Ethernet, so yeah, I'll definitely keep that. I don't know what these things are. They're like those I can't figure the word now. But yeah, they put on, they mount cables and they bolt down cables or something. Not really sure what they are. I've got a few of them, so I don't really know what to do with these. They might just have to go as scrap metal, unless someone knows what they are. Yeah, and as far as value, well, not much. So far from what you've seen, there's probably, the main value is in the boards, so overall there's probably only like $60 worth of scrap here. But this amp, the NAD 7155, it turns out that it's actually a really, really good one. It's a very popular. They reckon it's one of the best amps of its time. It's as good as some Sansuis and that kind of thing. They're not really, really expensive, but I see them on eBay for about $250 in nice working condition. So because this has got that capacitor issue apparently in there, but because it's, it is a popular brand, and there's collectors out there that like this stuff. Apparently these work really well. So I reckon this is a good $60. I think I've already got a buyer for this, and yeah, they'll pay $60 for this for sure. Fix it up, and they'll have a system that they can sell for probably $200. But the guy I'm thinking of is probably going to just keep it anyway. And I got a bunch of brand new floppies. It might be brand new, but yeah, obviously we don't need floppies anymore, but these are good to fill the holes in vintage computers. So any PCs that I've kept that are missing a floppy, I've got a nice brand new one that I can put in just to fill those holes, you know. So I keep those. No real value, but yeah. So as I said, about $60 in scrap, maybe, and about another $60 for that. So you know, not bad for a quick little pickup. Yeah, just a lot of work to get through all this little basic stuff, but you know, I'll get there. And I've got these PCs lined up that I was going to scrap from my previous pickup. So as you can see, when I get another pickup in between, it's just a bit busy to catch up on stuff like making videos for you know, scrapping videos and that. So I'm just going to put this all away now, and at least I've got it sorted. I know what I want to keep and what I need to work on, and then I'll get on to the next video of scrapping these PCs out, and I'll probably finish off scrapping all these servers too before I do anything else. Alright guys, well, I hope that was a little bit of fun for you. A very different, unusual pickup. And so yeah, it's just another one for the books. But hopefully our next pickup will be more IT stuff rather than, you know, the junky stuff. You know, a lot of this sort of stuff, but you know, as you know, it's only low value. But can't complain. I don't mind it at all. Some custom boards, you know, where they kind of, it's almost like they just get a blank board and they just put things on it. It's very basic. You got these capacitors here. I've actually got a bunch of these capacitors in there, brand new still, but they're not really worth much. They just look really unusual. And yeah, it's yeah, quite interesting. Silver, you know, this all looks, it's like silver plated. So after depopulating board, it might be worth keeping these if you're into silver, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do about them. Yeah, and a lot of these cast aluminium things that I'll work on and, you know, get that copper out of them. But the most exciting collectible thing are these, you know, these military things. Love them. And yeah, 2 will come to go into my collection, and 2 I'm just going to scrap out, get the aluminium out of. Alright guys, well, I'll catch you next time soon with hopefully something a bit different. It'll probably be these PCs scrapped out. And leading up to Christmas, I'm just trying to catch up on all the stuff that I've got here at the moment, and I want to clear out and make a nice clean yard for Christmas. And then we get back into it at the start of the new year and go hard again for another year. Alright guys, keep scrapping, and I'll catch you next time soon.